On October 21st, 1978, at 6:19 p.m., instructor pilot Frederick Valentich began the flight from Moorabbin Airport in Victoria, Australia to King Island, Tasmania, over the Bass Strait in a Cessna 182L. His destination was only about an hour away. Visibility was good, and there were only light winds. Valentich, 20 years old at the time, reportedly wanted to get more flight hours in. Valentich made contact with Steve Roby at Air Traffic Control in Melbourne between 7:06 and 7:12 p.m. During the transmission, Valentich asked whether there was any known aircraft in his area. After Air Traffic Control said there was not, Valentich claimed a large unknown aircraft was flying about 1,000 feet above him at a fast speed with 4 bright lights. Valentich then reportedly said, quote, "It seems to be playing some sort of game. He's flying over me. It's not an aircraft," end quote.
What does he mean by it's not an aircraft?
It didn't look like any aircraft he'd ever seen before.
Okay.
Pretty.
Oh, he's saying like, it doesn't look like an airplane?
Yeah, I mean, like, he's also probably not thinking through his words right now.
You always go with this. They're not thinking about their words.
Because they're not. There's an alien in front of you. You're not going to be the most well-spoken you've ever been in front of an alien.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. He continued to describe the craft, saying, quote, "It seems like it's stationary. What I'm doing right now is orbiting, and the thing is just orbiting on top of me. Also, it's got a green light and sort of metallic. It's shiny on the outside. It's just vanished," end quote. His last message around 7:12 p.m. to Air Traffic Control was, quote, "Melbourne, that strange aircraft is hovering on top of me again. It is hovering, and it's not an aircraft," end quote. After 17 seconds of silence, there was a loud sound of metal scraping. Authorities are said to have searched the area for 4 days, but found nothing, and Valentich was never seen again. What do you think of the 17 seconds of silence and then just metal sounds?
I love it.
It's horrifying.
It's great.
It's honestly, like, reading that gave me chills.
Yeah, it's good.
So wait a second, I'm just confused because normally at this point, I'm used to wanting to rip your head off. But right now, we are in agreement that this is pretty plausible.
I think I'm just very discerning with my abduction stories. Like I said, I do believe in aliens, but I don't believe that most people, I'm not buying a lot of the encounters that people describe, because a lot of times they don't, it seems like they're either trying to cash in or they're just insane. But this, I don't know.
What are you cashing in for if you disappear forever?
What do you cash in for if you disappear forever?
In May 1982, the Aircraft Accident Investigation Summary's cause of the accident read, quote, "The reason for the disappearance of the aircraft has not been determined," end quote. A. Woodward, the man who signed off on the report, offered pure, unfiltered speculation that Valentich could have been disoriented, suicidal, or even the victim of a meteorite crash.
Meteorites don't hover over.
It wasn't an alien, he got hit by a meteor.
It was a big fireball, I see it.
One alternate theory comes from a feature story in a 2013 issue of Skeptical Inquirer. The story mentions that Valentich was inexperienced as a pilot and had supposedly been cited twice for deliberately flying blind into a cloud. According to another source, Valentich was reportedly fascinated with UFOs and even had a UFO scrapbook with him when he disappeared.
Okay, never mind.
Oh, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop.
This is what happened. This has happened a couple other times.
Yeah.
You always present a very, you get the case presented in a way that makes me say, all right.
There's strong rhetoric to build up to that, right?
Yeah, you do a pretty good job of that. And then you throw something like this in, like, he was obsessed with UFOs and wrote fan fiction about himself dying at the hand of a UFO.
I did not say that. I said reportedly fascinated with UFOs. The publication Skeptical Inquirer posits that Valentich's experience was some mixture of wanting to see something, being easily led to believe that anything he didn't recognize was a UFO, becoming disoriented, and or mistaking stars and the Cessna's own lights as lights from another object.
They discredit him a fair amount.
I don't think so.
Not entirely. I still find it convincing. I mean, I find it intriguing because the plain UFO encounters are always the most convincing to me.
However, it should be mentioned that other sources contest that Valentich was an experienced pilot. It's also worth noting that the Cessna 182 planes were designed to float in the case of a water landing. Historian Reg Watson has also found numerous reports of UFO sightings, including reports of cigar-shaped lights seen near King Island, Australia, for 2 months prior to Valentich's disappearance. A farmer allegedly saw a craft flying over his land near Adelaide the morning after Valentich vanished. He claimed that Valentich's plane was stuck to the side of the craft. Furthermore, one of the last pieces of information on record was Valentich reaching Cape Otway at 7 p.m. Here's a photograph taken off Cape Otway 20 minutes before Valentich vanished that shows a strange shape in the sky.
Let's see the picture.
All right. Here we go. Right there. See?
What are we looking at here?
That's the sky, and that's the weird object. If this is legit, this corroborates.
But
the
this
timeline.
also doesn't look like a UFO either, does it?
Well, we don't really know what a UFO looks like, do we?
Looks like some like God spit out his gum.
Sure, but you saying this doesn't really look like a UFO is exactly the same thing as saying like, oh, this doesn't look like a lava monster.
But
because we don't know what a lava monster looks like. We don't know what a UFO looks like. They're apparently made up. So until we see definitive proof, I think that this is a very strong case that this happened.
And you're welcome to think that.
Oh my God.
That's fine.
Ultimately, nobody can say for sure if aliens are real, let alone alien abductions. Until we procure solid physical evidence beyond eyewitness testimony, the lore behind aliens and abduction will likely remain just that, lore. Hopefully one day we'll have a definitive answer, but for now, whether or not aliens abduct humans will remain unsolved.